I'm not everyone's cup of tea. With that striking line, Ali Tareen has walked away from the Multan Sultans, and the way it all unfolded has PSL fans divided and asking who is really at fault here. What actually happened? Multan Sultans owner Ali Tareen Khan has officially resigned from his role as owner of the Pakistan Super League, PSL, franchise after a serious fallout with the Pakistan Cricket Board, PCB. He announced his exit through a farewell message on social media, making it clear that his decision was final and deeply personal, not just a routine business move. The timing is dramatic. His departure comes right in the middle of a major structural shakeup of the PSL, which has put every franchise under fresh scrutiny. PSL's restructuring and revaluation drama. The PSL is currently going through a reform phase ahead of the next season, with all franchises being reassessed following a systematic financial and operational audit. As part of this process, every team is required to sign a renewed contract based on updated franchise valuations, rather than simply rolling over the old deals. But here's where it gets controversial. Despite the league-wide renewal push, Multan Sultans did not receive a standard renewal offer, reportedly because of a clash between Ali Tareen and the PCB that escalated behind the scenes. Multan Sultans' surprising valuation twist. The Multan Sultans franchise, which was initially purchased for around PKR 1.1 billion, has now reportedly been revalued at approximately PKR 850 million. That makes it the only PSL team said to have dropped in value instead of growing, which on its own is already a huge talking point for fans and analysts. And this is the part most people miss. Despite this lower valuation, Tareen was reportedly asked to pay the original higher fee plus an extra 25% on top to renew the franchise under the PSL's new renewal framework. The standoff, money, fairness, and principles. Ali Tareen viewed this demand as unfair and financially unreasonable, especially considering the reduced valuation assigned to his team. He argued that being forced to pay more for a franchise officially worth less simply did not make sense from a business or fairness standpoint. This disagreement triggered a full-blown standoff, and as a result, Multan Sultans became one of the few franchises that did not initially receive a fresh contract offer in line with the others. Ali Tareen steps down, and thanks the fans. Amid this tug-of-war, Ali Tareen chose to step aside and announced that he would no longer continue as the owner of Multan Sultans. In his farewell note, he expressed deep gratitude to the fans and described leading the franchise as one of the greatest honors of his life, highlighting how emotionally invested he was in the project. He framed his exit not as a retreat, but as a decision shaped by values, signaling that there are some lines he simply was not willing to cross. A tribute to Alamgir Tareen and South Punjab. In his statement, Ali Tareen also paid heartfelt tribute to his late uncle, Alamgir Tareen, who was a key figure in the franchise's story. Alamgir strongly believed in using sports as a platform to uplift South Punjab, not just through cricket but also through wider community-building efforts. Ali's messaging made it clear that, for him, Multan Sultans was never just a business, it was tied to a vision of regional pride and social impact. Losses, loyalty, and non-negotiable values. Interestingly, Ali Tareen admitted that he had endured financial losses during his tenure as owner but insisted that money was never the reason he considered leaving. He stated that he never thought about walking away simply because the numbers didn't add up, which suggests that he was prepared to absorb some financial pain for the sake of the project. But here's where it gets controversial again. He drew a hard line when it came to his principles, stating clearly that he could not continue in a role where he felt those principles had to be compromised. What happens to Multan Sultans now? Despite all the noise, Multan Sultans as a franchise has not been dissolved or removed from the PSL. The expectation is that the team will continue to exist but under new management, with different ownership taking over once Ali Tareen's exit is fully formalized. That raises big questions about the future identity of the team. Will the new owners keep the same community-focused vision, or will they steer it in a more purely commercial direction? The ripped-up legal notice moment. Before the renewal saga exploded, there had already been serious tension between Ali Tareen and the PCB. In a highly symbolic public gesture, he once tore up a legal notice from the PCB that warned of potential termination of the Multan Sultans franchise agreement. That act was more than just theatrics, it was his way of signaling that he felt the board was mishandling communication with franchises and responding to criticism in an overly harsh way. Accusations, legal threats, and a change of course. Ali Tareen accused the PCB of ignoring franchise concerns and failing to engage in meaningful dialogue on key issues like valuations and renewals. At one stage, he even warned that he might take legal action if the board did not address his objections regarding the renewal process or acknowledge his arguments about how the team had been valued. But in the end, instead of taking the dispute further into the courts, he chose a different path. He has now formally decided to leave the PSL structure altogether. The big question for fans. Some people see Ali Tareen as a principled owner who refused to bow to what he viewed as unfair and unsustainable terms, while others argue that tearing up legal notices and leaving the league may not have been the most productive way to create change. There's also a more polarizing angle. Does the drop in Multan Sultans' valuation suggest deeper issues in how the team was run, or is it evidence that the valuation and renewal framework itself is flawed and uneven? So what do you think? Did Ali Tareen do the right thing by walking away on principle, or should he have stayed and fought from within the PSL system? Do you agree with his stance on fairness and valuation, or do you side more with the PCB's handling of the situation? Share your thoughts. Whose side are you on in this saga, and why?